Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at where next week to 10 days. In today's video, we'll also have a look at the CFS V2 for the next month. That takes into December. And we'll start off by having a look at the stratosphere. Because yesterday, when we did the video, there was suggestions that by the end of November, we might get a bit of a stratospheric warming. Not a sudden stratospheric warming, not a huge warming event, but a warming event taking place in the top layer of the atmosphere around the end of November. So we'll have a look to see whether that's still being shown by GFS. Today, before we get on with that, though, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse, widgets, click through links. If there's any articles that you're interested in, you're helping us to pay for our website. Thanks so much for doing that. Christmas shop is still open. Big thank to everybody for doing their Christmas shopping at Amazon. Since we started this at the beginning of November, it's been a huge success. So, it always is, but big thank to everybody for doing their Christmas shopping at Amazon via Gaz. If you want to join in, all you have to do is press the green button, click the green button, it says Christmas shopping. It takes you to our Christmas page, and then from there, the key to it all is to click through the Amazon banners, and they'll take you through to Amazon, where you do your Christmas shopping as all. You don't need to do anything different whatsoever. It's just purely the fact you've gone from Gaz to Amazon, but means we get a revenue fee on the things that you are purchasing, and a big thank you to everybody for doing that. As I say, it's proved to be a huge success again this year. Right, let's get on with the update then. We'll start off with the temperature in the stratosphere over the North Pole. This is GFS temperature forecast starting on the 23rd of November, so this is in the extended range of the GFS model. The mid-latitudes where we are, so North America, UK, Europe, and rounding to Russia, is just there. The Arctic is here in the centre of the chart, and by the time you get through 23rd, it's fairly cold in terms of the stratospheric temperatures, no more than you'd expect really at this point of year, because it is a cooling time of year through November and into December in the stratosphere over the North Pole. So it's nothing more than you would expect, but it is quite a coolish stratospheric temperature forecast by 23rd November. Let's run through and see whether that warming is still on course, and on 25th and 26th, 27th, here it comes. You can see the yellow colours appearing across Russia and then starting to penetrate in towards the North Pole. Quite a big warming that. It is a sudden stratospheric warming. It doesn't lift up to the levels of sort of a midwinter sudden stratospheric warming where we see red colours appearing. The temperature scale is at the bottom of the chart. So this sort of level just here, that is the level of a sudden stratospheric warming where temperatures really shoot up over a very short space of time. It's a more modest warming than that, but it is quite significant, and it's certainly significant for this early in the season, because as I explained, it's normally quite a cooling time of year in terms of the stratospheric temperatures over the North Pole. So to get warming at this point of the year before Christmas is quite different and quite unusual. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Remember, the idea behind stratospheric warmings is that if they propagate down into the troposphere, which is the layer of the atmosphere where weather is taking place, then they can set up blocking. It's not guaranteed to cold weather for anywhere particularly, because sometimes it goes wrong with the warming not getting down into the troposphere. It doesn't always get into that layer of the atmosphere to set up blocking. The other problem is that you do get blocking setting up, but it doesn't sit in a position that's conducive to bring cold weather to us and to Europe, because the problem is always that for where one side is cold on the block, the other side is going to be sitting on the warm side. So not a guarantee of anything, but it is a precursor very often to blocking and to colder conditions. So we'll wait and see how that goes. Right, let's have a look at where next week to 10 days is going to take us through 25th of November. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF on the top, the GFS, have a look at that in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is an area in atmosphere, high pressure, low pressure being moved around by jet stream running above. Essentially, 500 millibars is the troposphere. So red extrapolates to high pressure and blue extrapolates to low pressure. So what we see for a period up to 10 days away is that we've got ridging out to the east and also up to the northwest. So signs of a lot of blocking. There's a cut-off low developing down to the south. Just not quite right at this point to be delivering us cold weather. That really goes into what I was explaining before when I talked about the stratospheric warmings, that you have to get the block in exactly the right position, particularly for us, because we live in quite a complicated part of the world, being next to the warm ocean and the cold continental landmass. So for us, we have to get the blocking in exactly the right position to deliver cold weather. And it's not quite right there on that chart from the EWF, up to 10 days away. It's very, very close to be able to deliver us cold weather, and I suspect if it was to evolve on, if we was to roll on 2 or 3 more days, we would find this developing in a direction to deliver us proper cold conditions, but it's just not quite there, up to a week to 10 days away. The GFS, which is this chart on the bottom, is even closer. So we've got the ridging again up to the east and northeast. Also lots of blocking around Greenland. Cut off low down to the south. And the jet stream is doing something like that. So we are placed on the cold side of the jet, but we're not tapping into true Arctic air quite at this point. What's got to happen is probably this ridge has got to retrogress and go here. And then we pull the cold air out of the North Pole. And actually, the midnight run of the GFS did get very close to doing that. I'll show you it in a moment. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Red line here is a 30-year temperature average. It turns off the upper air temperatures. We're starting off on a very mild note. It's been really mild over the past couple of days, especially across England and Wales. Temperatures well above average, but a lot of gloom, a lot of damp weather in with that too. Very reminiscent of what we had through most of November and December last year, which were exceptionally mild, but also very dull and quite wet. Well, it's downhill all the way with those temperatures over the next couple of days, so as we get to the end of the week and into weekend, looks like we're going quite cold. And then after that, we go through into next week, and we have a lot of scatter. The overall idea from this ensemble probably looks quite mildish, but there are some cold members, some really quite cold ensemble members within the pack, and the pattern that's delivering this sort of pattern that is looking fairly mildish is actually quite an interesting pattern. It's very close. It's sort of on the high anomaly chart. It's very close to delivering us cold weather. Now, precipitation. So we've got some showery rain coming up through the rest of this week. At the weekend, it looks very, very wet. Look at that. Really big rainfall spikes at the weekend. And it might not just be rain. There might be some snow in with that as well. I'll talk you through that in a second. After that, looks like it's staying unsettled and quite showery. Maybe a little bit of a drying trend through towards month's end. This is 1st of December over here. So this is how the GFS is looking then for Saturday when we bring down this cold northwesterly wind. This is midnight Saturday. Keep an eye on this area of low pressure in the Atlantic. These northwesterly winds are bringing colder air and wintry showers into the north and west. As we run through Saturday, this area of low pressure, which is being trended southwards, this area of low pressure just here to the southwest of Ireland, is starting to head our way. As we get through to midnight on Sunday, that low pressure is sitting just to the southwest of us, around Cornwall. And on its northern edge, there is still quite a bit of cold air there, revolving around the northern edge of that area of low pressure. So this is bringing heavy rain in across England and Wales, strong winds up to gale force through the Channel as well. On the northern edge, that's really for Wales and northern England on this run of the GFS. It could be bringing risk of snow. That low pressure by midday Sunday is sitting in the North Sea. Things are calming down, but the cooler air, or the colder air, is coming back in again. Let's have a look at the precipitation type forecast from the Weather Outlook. This is for 6 o'clock in the evening on Saturday, where most places are dry. We've got wintry showers in the north and west, a lot of dry weather elsewhere. This area green and blue down to the southwest, that's the heavy rain that's heading in. Let's see what happens, and this moves in across England and Wales up to midnight on Sunday, producing very wet weather in the south. Notice this white area appearing across Wales. That is forecasting sleet or snow there for many parts of Wales at midnight on Sunday. That rain turns very heavy in the early hours of Sunday morning across the south, and It is also giving heavy snow there, again, particularly focusing on Wales and possibly into the north and northwest Midlands as well. And then we go through to 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, when it's still pouring with rain in the southeast. Still the suggestion of something wintry through Wales, northwestern parts of England, down into the north and west Midlands as well. And then through the course of Sunday, it all sort of pulls away to the east, leaving a bit of a wintry mix of rain, sleet, maybe a little bit of snow, left and a cold northerly wind. It's a very complex situation. It's on a knife edge, that, but we've got to keep an eye on it. If that low pressure is trending further south still, it could bring a risk of some snow, maybe to places like the Midlands and Lincolnshire. So let's just wait and see where that one is going for the weekend. Conversely, of course, if it's pushed back north again, then the risk of snow is going to be very limited, just looking at a lot of wet weather away from, say, the Pennines. Right, into next week with GFS and low pressures down to the southwest. That's bringing another batch of rain up from the south and west. So we start next week on really a very unsettled note with lots of rain across the country and within milder air as well. So that will mostly be rain at the start of next week. Then we get through towards the extended period, which takes us to day 10, Friday 25th of November, and heights are rising across Greenland as this low pressure starting to become cut off down to the south. So there you go, we've got high pressure up there, low pressure down there. The winds are still fairly mildish. They're originating from sort of the southeast, so it's not cold air, but the pattern is getting quite interesting. By the time we go just beyond day 10, we're beginning to open the door to much colder northeasterly winds coming through then, a real blocking feature being set up across Greenland. Low pressure is all down to the south and east, and we're opening the door to that northeast wind. That looks a cold end, a proper cold end to November. ECWF looking like this, so got those cool, cold, showery northwesterly winds to start weekend on Saturday. There's that low pressure coming in from the southwest. Got to keep an eye on it. Its northern edge could give the risk of some wintry falls overnight, Saturday into Sunday. That low pressure gets out of the way as we move through into Sunday and Monday, but it stays unsettled. Low pressure still close to the country, so showers, longer spells of rain through the early part of next week, probably quite mild as well up towards the middle of next week. And then we get through to day 10, Friday 25th of November. It looks like that low pressure is increasingly moving down to the south as we're beginning to turn the winds in to the east. So get through to the end of November. I think the suggestion is still there that we've got to be looking to the north and northeast for some significantly colder weather to close out the month. Finally, just have a look at the CFS V2 for the next month. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period taking us from the 15th, 21st of November. So the coming week, low pressure close to the country, a ridge out to the south and to the west as well, and also blocking up to the northeast. So on the cool side of the jet, but it's not quite that straightforward with the air doing something like that, or the flow doing something like that. We're still bringing in mildish air, albeit it will be colder at the weekend particularly. Go through to the 22nd to 28th of November. Again, heights are very high up to the north and to the east, blocking just not quite in right position to give us cold weather because the flow is doing something like that. So winds from the southeast really there, but very close to turning things colder. And then we go through to week 3, which is the 29th of November through to the 5th of December. High pressures out to the west then and the northwest, low pressure to the east. So that's bringing the winds in from more of a northerly, possibly even northeasterly type direction. That would be colder, I would have thought, to end November and start December. And that continues into week 4, 6th through to 12th of November. Excuse me, shows that we have high pressure, above average heights around Greenland, deep trough of low pressure in across Scandinavia. That looks really cold and wintry for our Nordic friends. And for us, we are turning the winds into the north. So again, I think the suggestion is definitely there that as we get through to the end of November, then on into December, we should be looking out for the chance of some significantly colder conditions. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. We've got quite a bit of rain to get through over the next week or so. Might be something wintry coming up over the weekend. Got to keep an eye on that. At the moment, it looks like it's Wales, Northwest Midlands, possibly northwest England as well. But if that low pressure over weekend is trending any further south, it will bring the rain, snow line, divide, a little bit further south, possibly into places like the Midlands and Lincolnshire. So that's one to keep an eye on. Beyond that, it looks like we have showers, longer spells of rain, and mildish temperatures through the early part of next week. And then towards the end of November and start of December, yes, still a suggestion there that we've got this risk of northern blocking and maybe something significantly colder to end the month and begin December. Right, that's all for now, and thanks very much for watching.